Ethan Carter had never imagined his life would turn out this way. Once a promising college student studying architecture, he had dropped out when his wife passed away during childbirth. He was left with nothing but medical bills, a broken heart, and a newborn daughter he named Lily. To survive, Ethan took whatever job he could find, eventually becoming the night janitor at Willow Heights Elementary. The pay was modest, but it kept a roof over their heads and food on the table. He didn't complain, because every day he got to see Lily smile, and that was worth more than anything. Despite working late shifts, Ethan always made time for his daughter. He would pack her lunch with care, walk her to school holding her tiny hand, and fill their evenings with silly games. Their favorite was blowing bubbles, something so simple, yet magical. Ethan always kept a small bottle of bubble solution in his pocket, ready to bring a sparkle of joy to Lily whenever life felt too heavy. One spring afternoon, Ethan arrived early at the school to start his shift. As he walked across the playground, he heard soft sobs behind the gymnasium. Curious and concerned, he followed the sound until he found a young girl, no older than 8, sitting on the steps with tears streaming down her face. Her hair was messy, her backpack was discarded beside her, and she hugged her knees tightly as if the world had turned against her. "Hey, kiddo," Ethan said softly, crouching down so he didn't tower over her. "Are you okay?" The girl shook her head, trying to hide her face. Ethan could see she was trembling. Something inside him stirred. He recognized that kind of pain. He had seen it in Lily's eyes whenever she asked why she didn't have a mommy like the other kids. "Want to talk about it?" Ethan asked, his voice gentle. "No," the girl whispered. "Everyone hates me." Those words pierced his heart. He didn't know her story, but he knew what rejection felt like. He also knew he couldn't just walk away. Reaching into his pocket, Ethan pulled out the small bubble bottle he always carried. "You know," he said, holding it up, "bubbles have this superpower. They chase away sad thoughts. Want to see?" The girl glanced at him through tear-stained lashes, curiosity flickering in her eyes. Ethan smiled warmly and dipped the wand into the solution. With a gentle blow, dozens of shimmering bubbles floated into the air, catching the sunlight in rainbow colors. The little girl gasped despite herself, her sadness momentarily replaced by wonder. Ethan continued blowing bubbles, making silly faces as he pretended to catch them and let them pop on his nose. The girl giggled, a small, timid sound, but genuine. "There it is," Ethan said softly. "The world's most powerful sound. Your laugh." The girl reached out to touch a bubble, only for it to burst against her finger. "They disappear so fast," she murmured. "Yeah," Ethan nodded. "But you know what's amazing? You can always make more. Just like happy moments. They don't last forever, but you can always create new ones." The girl smiled faintly for the first time. "You're funny, for a janitor." Ethan chuckled. "I'll take that as a compliment." He offered his hand. "What's your name?" "Sophia," she said quietly, placing her tiny hand in his. "Well, Sophia," Ethan said, "I think you're stronger than you know. And if anyone tells you otherwise, they're wrong." Unbeknownst to Ethan, someone had been watching the entire interaction from a distance. A woman in a tailored suit stood just beyond the corner of the gymnasium, her eyes wide with surprise. She was Isabella Reynolds, the CEO of Reynolds Enterprises, a billionaire businesswoman known for her strength, intelligence, and ruthless reputation in the corporate world. But at that moment, she wasn't the powerful CEO everyone feared. She was a mother. And the crying little girl Ethan had just comforted was her daughter. Isabella had rushed to the school after receiving a call from the principal about her daughter's sudden emotional outburst. Sophia had always struggled to adjust. Her father had abandoned them years ago, and Isabella's demanding schedule often kept her away from home. She tried to give Sophia everything money could buy, but she couldn't give her time. And now, watching her daughter cry alone broke her heart. She was about to step forward when she saw the janitor approach. At first, she expected him to shoo Sophia away or ignore her. But instead, she witnessed something extraordinary. This man, with his worn uniform and tired eyes, had managed to comb her daughter in minutes, something Isabella herself hadn't been able to do for weeks. After Sophia left to join her class, Isabella approached Ethan. "You," she said firmly. Ethan looked up, startled to see the elegant woman standing before him. He immediately recognized her. Everyone in the city knew Isabella Reynolds. "Yes, ma'am," he asked cautiously. "I saw what you did for my daughter," Isabella said, her voice steady but tinged with emotion. "You calmed her when no one else could." "How?" Ethan shifted awkwardly. "I just listened. Sometimes kids don't need advice, they just need to know someone cares." The bubbles helped too. Isabella studied him carefully. She had dealt with countless men, executives, politicians, opportunists, but this janitor didn't seem to want anything. His sincerity was disarming. "Do you have children?" she asked. "Yes," Ethan replied, his tone softening. "My daughter, Lily. She's my whole world." Something inside Isabella stirred. Here was a man who had nothing compared to her wealth, yet he seemed to possess everything she had lost: time, love, and the ability to truly connect with a child. Over the next few weeks, Isabella noticed a change in Sophia. She laughed more, spoke with confidence, and seemed happier. One day, Sophia confessed, "Mom, the janitor told me bubbles are like happiness, you can always make more." "He's right." Isabella was stunned. A janitor had given her daughter wisdom that money never could. Finally, Isabella invited Ethan and Lily to her office. Ethan felt out of place in the marble-floored skyscraper, holding his daughter's hand tightly. Isabella greeted them warmly and offered seats. "I owe you more than I can ever repay," she told Ethan. "You've been a friend to my daughter when she needed one most." "You don't owe me anything," Ethan said simply. "She's a wonderful kid. Sometimes, all children need is someone to remind them they matter." Isabella smiled, a rare, genuine smile. "Still, I'd like to do something. I can offer you a better job, something that matches your potential." "You don't belong cleaning floors." Ethan hesitated. "I appreciate that, but I don't want Lily to think I changed who I am just for money. I want her to learn that kindness matters more than wealth." Those words struck Isabella deeply. For years she had equated success with power, but this man had reminded her of a truth she had long forgotten. From that day forward, Isabella and Ethan's lives intertwined. Sophia and Lily became inseparable friends, and Isabella often invited them to spend time together. Slowly, Isabella and Ethan grew closer, not through grand gestures, but through shared laughter, long talks, and the bond of parenthood. Sophia no longer felt alone. Lily gained a role model in Isabella. And Ethan, the humble janitor, realized that his greatest wealth wasn't money, it was love, family, and the power of kindness. One evening, as Ethan and Isabella watched their daughters chase bubbles in the park, Isabella whispered, "You changed our lives with something as simple as bubbles." Ethan smiled. Sometimes, the simplest things carry the most magic. And as the sun set, the two families stood together, proof that compassion could bridge worlds apart.